I'm sorry for what I did, but that's hardly enough.
I think that's the one baffling part of this case, that to this day we can't understand why he committed this mass murder.
Imagine a quiet suburban neighborhood shattered by a gruesome crime. A teenage boy accused of murdering his entire family. What drove him to commit such a chilling act? Was it a dark secret, a hidden rage, or something even more sinister? Stay tuned as we unravel the shocking truth behind this horrifying family tragedy. The Thanksgiving Massacre of 1998, the case of Seth Privacky. On Thanksgiving Day in 1998, a seemingly ordinary family in Muskegon, Michigan, gathered to celebrate. Linda Privacky was showering, while her husband, Stephen, was out picking up his father, John. In the living room, their son, Jed, 19, waited for his girlfriend, April, to arrive. Upstairs, however, Seth Privacky, the family's youngest son at 18, was loading his father's .22 caliber Ruger. When Seth came downstairs, he shot Jed in the head without warning. He then moved to the garage, where he waited for his father and grandfather to return. As they arrived, Seth ambushed them, firing 3 shots. One into his father and 2 into his grandfather. Finally, when his mother emerged from the shower, he shot her as well. Moments later, Jed's girlfriend April arrived at the house. Seth let her in, but when she saw the bodies, she gasped in horror. Seth shot her too, making her his 5th victim. A chilling discovery. The massacre might have gone unnoticed for longer, had April's parents not become concerned when she didn't return home that evening. They drove to the Privacky residence and discovered the scene of horror. The bodies of the family members, blood everywhere, and a staged attempt to make the crime look like a botched robbery. Police were immediately called. One victim, Seth's grandfather, was lying in the driveway, while the rest were inside. Only one person was unaccounted for: Seth. Investigators quickly identified him as the prime suspect. The manhunt. Seth fled as police arrived. His best friend, Stephen Wallace, who had helped him stage the robbery, was arrested and confessed to Seth's crimes, revealing details of how Seth had methodically killed his family and even called him afterward, saying, "It's done." When the police was searching the house, they saw a boy was hiding in the woods behind the home. It was Stephen Wallace. He made no attempt to flee. He told the police that Seth had just killed his parents. Police launched a manhunt for Seth. Next morning, news of what had taken place at Privacky House spread like wildfire. Seth's father was a teacher at Wath's Puffer Intermediate School. Everybody in town was feeling sad on this tremendous loss. Gianna Simonelli was also a student of Puffer School. That day she was also very disturbed due to this news. It was an awful rainy day. She was driving along Weber Road. She saw a hitchhiker thumbing for a ride in the rain. She stopped the car and stranger sat in. It was Seth, and she knew exactly what he was accused of. She was terrified, but she kept her cool. She acted as if she knew nothing. She dropped the Seth where he asked her to stop. When he left, Janet immediately called the police. Soon the police arrived at the address where the Seth had been dropped of. They discovered him hiding in a barn, shivering from cold and rain. Seth gave himself up to the police without any resistance. After 13 hours on the run, Seth was caught hiding in a barn, thanks to a college student who recognized him as she gave him a ride. Seth surrendered without resistance, but his actions left investigators and the community shocked. The confession and motive. Seth admitted to the murders, but his explanation was unsettlingly vague. He claimed his family was ganging up on him, and his father had recently asked him to move out of the house. Detectives uncovered a history of minor legal trouble, including shoplifting and selling alcohol to minors, which had earned Seth probation. He was also diagnosed with depression and prescribed the antidepressant Wellbutrin. Seth's behavior in custody was chilling. He described his actions calmly, devoid of emotion, as though he were recounting a mundane event. Despite his confession, his motive remained unclear, leaving friends, neighbors, and detectives struggling to understand why he committed such an unthinkable crime. The aftermath. Both Seth and Stephen were charged. Stephen was accused of being an accessory after the fact, but was acquitted in 1999. Seth, however, was sentenced to life in prison without parole after pleading no contest to 5 counts of first-degree murder. In the years following his imprisonment, Seth maintained that he was not a monster, writing letters to the press to refute claims about his character. In one such letter, he claimed to have been under the influence of LSD at the time of the murders, blaming the drug for his actions. However, there was no evidence to confirm this, and his story only deepened the mystery. A tragic end. Seth's time in prison ended tragically. In 2010, at the age of 30, he and 2 fellow inmates attempted an escape by stealing a truck and crashing it through the prison's fences. Guards pursued them, and Seth was shot and killed when he refused to stop running.
Ironically, he died in the same fashion that all 5 of his victims did.
You think of irony, karma, what you sow, so shall you reap.
His death was ironic, as it mirrored the violence he had inflicted on his own family. Unanswered questions. The motive behind Seth Privacky's actions remains a mystery. His strained relationship with his father, feelings of isolation, and potential substance use may have contributed, but none fully explain his decision to kill his entire family and Jed's girlfriend on Thanksgiving Day. His death at 30 ensured that the full truth of his actions would never be revealed. Conclusion. Seth Privacky's case is a haunting reminder of how unresolved emotions and untreated issues can spiral into unimaginable tragedy. While the community may never understand what drove him to commit these horrific acts, it's a story that continues to resonate as a warning about the complexities of mental health, family dynamics, and violence.